So far, what did we think of the experience?
What do I think of this experience?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a learning curve for all of us. And I think we can bring this into everyday life and, you know, change the world and all that.
Disclaimer. This is not your average European winter trip.
This is a very new adventure for us, but you know, I'm willing to give it a try. Let's go!
From Copenhagen to Oslo, round-tripping through Stockholm back to the Danish capital, we'll discover the best these Scandi cities have to offer, and discover ourselves along the way. You in?
Guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for this super lame introduction, but honestly, it's been a year, as you all know. And if you watched my last video, you saw that before coronavirus broke out, I went to Scandinavia in February, and it was one of the best trips of my life. And then all of this COVID craziness happened, and I didn't get to post my videos. But I'm posting them now. So on my last video, if you watched it, you guys know that it was my journey to Scandinavia, and this video is my journey in Scandinavia with all of the friends that I made. And you get to meet everyone, and you get to come with me on the tour and kind of be a part of it, experience it with me. And I'm really sorry for this super lame introduction, but I just kind of, it's been a year. I don't know what else to tell you. This is how it is sometimes. I love you. Thanks for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. And my last video, we ended with me meeting everyone at dinner, I think, or like getting to the hostel. This video starts with me meeting my roommates and going up to our room and like with a room tour of our first hostel. So I hope you guys enjoy. You guys are probably wondering about the roommate situation. How'd you pick your roommates? How'd you end up with whoever you ended up in the room? So right away when the trip starts, you are supposed to meet at a specific spot at a certain time. So for us, it was at the lobby of the hostel at a certain time. When you meet there, she does a head count, and then she pulls out a clipboard and she says, okay, how do you guys want to do this? Do you guys want to mix boys and girls, or just girls with girls and boys with boys? And I would say on my trip, they all decided to keep girls together and boys together. It might be different in your trip if you decide to do one of these. It just depends on the trip and the people on the trip. However, on my trip, we all decided that we wanted girls to be with girls and boys to be with boys. And it worked out pretty well that way for us. So she walked around with a clipboard, and you basically had to look at the person next to you and be like, hey, do you want to room with me? You've never met this person, you don't know this person, but that's just kind of how it goes. You just either ask someone or you wait till the end to see where you end up in. After you have your roommate, she gives you a room key, and you go up to your room and you basically introduce yourself to your new roommates. This is my room, this is my bed, these are my roommates. I'll give them a better intro later, but for now I just kind of want to show you what our first hostel looked like and kind of how the first night went, because it set the basis for the rest of the trip. So as you can see, this is our room, this is our toilet, and this is our shower. Yes, they are separate in Europe, especially in hostels, because it just makes so much more sense. And the sink is also outside. Here's me, hi. Then this is where we hung our coats, because it was February and we are in Scandinavia, which was cold, but not as cold as North Dakota, surprisingly. These are our beds. I took the top bunk bed. This is Emily's bed. You'll get to meet her later. Nobody was staying in that bed. That's my bed up there. And that's Georgia and Kayla's bed, and then Rachel's bed was also up there. This is where all of our suitcases were. So this is pretty much our room. It's not that tight. We had, you know, enough space, and I didn't feel claustrophobic. So now that you guys have seen the room, I'll show you the hallways again. After we got to see our rooms or leave our stuff in our rooms, we had the option to stay in our rooms, or we could go to a walking tour with our tour guide. And that's what I chose to do. So we went out, we saw some cool places. She was very informative, and I'll leave this clip so you can kind of hear the type of information she gives you along these walking tours. It's actually very interesting and very fun.
This is the Amalienborg Palace. So this is where the royal family live. But it's a nice little story that people think that that's the one that she lives in primarily because it has an extra chimney for all of the smoke.
And if you have an option to do the walking tours, I would 100% do them. Even if you're tired, just go. You'll learn things. You see really cool like architecture, and I would just 100% I would just recommend it. Next on the schedule is dinner at 7. This is our welcome dinner where we got to fill out some information. Basically, on like our passports, our emergency contact, and our insurance. Here's me walking down the stairs because I just thought it'd be cooler to take the stairs other than the elevator. And this is where I officially got to meet everyone and we got to introduce ourselves. And what I like about these tours is you're not forced to do anything. Everything is optional. If you want to be social, you can be social. If you're there just for the cultural experience, you don't have to talk to them. I mean, they don't force you. They don't like do icebreakers. You're basically left to your own devices. And if you want to be social, go ahead. And if you don't have to be. But here is me on our first night walking to dinner. And on these tables, you can see everyone getting ready to meet everyone. One really cool thing about this tour and our tour guide Emily is that she had these like sheets that would basically go over like what we were doing for the day and what we were going to be doing the next day. So for example, here's a sheet. So a couple things about this sheet is, as you can see, like it tells you what we were doing for the day. Like day 1 we had the welcome meeting at 4 and then we had the dinner at 7. Then on day 2 we had breakfast at 7 and we were supposed to have our bags on the coach by 7:20. And then we were headed to Oslo. She always had really good information on these sheets for us to have, and we would just take a picture of it and basically have them for the day. I'll see you guys down there. Breakfast is at 7, and guess who's ready at 6:59? Me? That is surprising, isn't it? I must be excited for something.
I have a schedule. Doesn't start off 7, so okay. Well, at 6 a.m.
Well, at least you're ready.
Yeah, that's the only benefit from this. Sleep deprived. I'm gonna cry.
Did you go out last night?
We stayed downstairs at the bar.
Okay.
Well, no.
That's what I heard.
Well, it was good, yeah. It was decent.
Do I want to what? Yeah. Sorry.
So please make sure you wear the seat belts now. Whenever we get stopped, and if they come on board, we're gonna tell you when we're pulling over for police, but we're gonna tell you to put the seat belts on. If you happen to not put the seat belts on, you're gonna get fined for that, okay? Plastic bags for rubbish. I usually keep them here, right here in the front, in the big box and small box, or like that, here. If you need one, I'm not usually putting them on.
That's when we will take you guys to various drop-offs to the museums if you would like to go. Anyone who does not want to do any of those things, you don't need to be on the coach at all. Really good quality produce, not just a lot of it, because obviously having a lot of space as well. But one thing that they do have to combat is the fact that their climate is quite cold. Not a lot of their land is particularly arable as well, so it's not like they can just have crops growing all year round in every part of the country. So it means that they have to be quite clever about the way that they sort of function in an agricultural sense. There are islands off the northern coast of Norway in the Barents Sea. The Barents Sea is basically what sits up above Norway and Russia. And there are a group of islands called the Svalbard Islands that sit up there. There's a couple of things that are interesting about them. First of all, they have a very low number of inhabitants.
So here we have arrived in Oslo somewhere around like 5ish, and we decided to room with the same people. Here is Emily giving us instructions for where our rooms were. We had to grab some sheets. Every hostel is different, and I'll give you a room tour shortly. Here is our room. Every hostel is different, and this hostel, for example, has a shower and the toilet in the same room, which is kind of inconvenient for the rest of us, but this one had a little kitchenette in case you wanted to stay in and cook, which we didn't. We had lots of activities planned, so we never really ate or utilized any of those things. This is Emily, an absolute firecracker. She honestly made this trip a lot more fun. She was just absolute madness, and I loved her. After we got settled in, we had an optional walking tour, which I believe every single one of us chose to do except for Rachel, and then we had dinner, which was also included in one of the meals. So after we got settled in, we decided to head out into our tour. On our walking tour, it decided to pour rain on us, and this is why this trip is like one of my favorites, because yes, it was raining, it was cold, it was windy, but we were all just excited to be there. We didn't care, rain or shine, we were gonna have a good time. We're literally getting poured on. I'm so glad my coat was waterproof, but we were just having so much fun. We literally didn't care. After that, we all walked over to dinner.
I actually talk out of my mouth for the most part. So it's a lot harder to hear me if you're behind me.
Emily gave us again some great information. There's George being George. And then we had a complimentary dinner. Another good thing about these tours is when you book the tour, you can specify your dietary needs. So if you're vegan, vegetarian, or lactose intolerant, you can specify that. And when you have complimentary dinners like these, they'll make sure that you get the right plate. We had some vegans, we had vegetarians, and we had some lactose-free people. You just specify that and they'll make sure to bring you out a plate that meets your dietary needs. And they also don't make you feel bad about it, which is awesome.
Is this it? Is this what's happening?
This is
Is this how you do it?
this is how I do it now.
You got consent.
You know, I've learned to live without.
Do you know how to do that?
I do know how to do that.
You have to blur a lot of faces.
If I do have to do that, I'm just not even gonna do it. We look really cool just like walking. Looks like we're all just a bunch of friends. Are we not? We are.
It's a fucking pretty suit, to be fair.
So I will share with you guys the sheet for Oslo. We were there for 3 nights, and then we went to Stockholm, Sweden. In Oslo, we went skiing, we went to a bunch of like Viking museums, and we had lots of free time to do whatever we wanted. We went out quite a bit. Just to give you guys an idea, there are scheduled activities, but you also have lots of free time in this particular tour.
Good morning, everybody. I don't know why I said that like that. Maybe because I'm surrounded by Australians and English people. Let's not forget about one Irish. But I am on my way to breakfast. This is our hostel, Anchor Hostel, and then this is the Anchor Hotel, and we actually have breakfast at the Anchor Hotel. None of my roommates were up. It is 7:36. I woke up at 6:40, showered, got ready, packed my backpack for the ski trip just with like water, an apple, my camera, so that I don't have to keep holding it. But now I'm gonna go have breakfast, and I don't know if I'm gonna have it alone because I don't know that anyone's there. So, I love these stores. I just don't know where to go. I'm a little scared. Hopefully there's somebody that I know having breakfast already.
Like, I've had so many of these over the past week. Incredible.
We're the only ones here, I think, from our group. We're early morning risers. Look at how pretty her makeup is. She did such a good job. Okay, so I've got ground cheese here, and I'm going to try it. She said it had an aftertaste, so we'll see. I'm actually kind of nervous now.
What a tiny piece.
I don't know. The end, it's like, then it starts tasting like cheese. It's just weird. I shouldn't use the word weird, but it's just different. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily choose to have that on my sandwich, or I don't know how they eat it.
I kind of see it in chocolate, like it is caramelly, but it's just got that cheese taste.
Yeah, like to have it for fun. I don't know.
Alright, so I've had breakfast already. I'm gonna head back and brush my teeth, make sure that everything is ready. That way I don't keep anybody waiting. I don't want to be that person. So, yeah, let's go.
Ended up in the bushes, nearly killed some kids, and then on the last slope I slid down on my arse trying to but I made it. And then I nearly went exploring the woods.
You did the grid.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That last ramp was horrible.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I was so, no, I just went down on my arse.
The one where there's like the pond? Or which one? The one
It's
where...
like the one what you guys went down.
Yeah.
Right at the end, it kind of like curves around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then the ski lift. I was some Norwegian bloke went, oh, you'll be fine. And I was like, you know me, mate. Oh, I'm clinging off for dear life. Yeah. I got a cool video though.
I tried.
No, you did great. Hey, we all did pretty good for our first time, I think.
I think ski left.
Hi guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. The video's getting super long and I hate having to split them, but I'm gonna have to because I can't cut out any other information. I feel like it's enough information to get you guys to understand what the trip was like, but I also don't want to drag it out too long. So the 2 last nights in Oslo and Sweden will all be in part 3 of this Scandinavian series. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Part 3 of me in Sweden and the last couple nights in Oslo will be posted this Thursday. So stay tuned for that. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday.